Out of all of the civs in multiplayer Civ 6 with a better balanced game mod, Brazil is likely the most underplayed civ in the game, relative to how strong it is. Despite being widely recognized among top players as one of the best civs, it's hardly ever picked or banned. Why? In my opinion, it's likely due to the fact that the bonuses are rather unintuitive. When playing without BBG, it's easy to play Brazil. First, you pick Sacred Path as your Pantheon in order to gain +1 adjacency on holy sites from rainforests. This stacks with your inherent +1 adjacency on all districts from rainforests, meaning it's easy to get +12 holy sites. Then, you simply take the work ethic belief to gain production on holy sites equal to their adjacency, slot in the policy card for double holy site adjacency, and voila, you gain +24 production per city and win the game easily. However, this doesn't work in BBG, as the work ethic belief was rightfully recognized as overpowered and has been reworked to instead grant production on shrines and temples equal to their inherent faith yields. So, how does Brazil play in the world of multiplayer Civ if work ethic abuse isn't an option? It appears a demonstration is in order, so we'll examine a game I played as Brazil. The game starts pretty conventionally, 2 scouts into 2 settlers. We're rushing for the currency technology, as we'll be playing a conventional commercial hub opener here. While Holy Site Brazil is still perfectly playable, there are reasons that Commercial Hub Brazil is even better, which we'll be seeing later. Brazil can go for a variety of different pantheons depending on the situation, and in this game, we elect to go for the city patron goddess. This grants us 40% extra production towards all districts and cities without a specialty district. We use this to get our commercial hubs finished faster. Since, like all our districts, they gain +1 adjacency from rainforests, we're able to get some +5 commercial hubs right away. One of the benefits of picking City Patron Goddess as our Pantheon and hard rushing for currency before picking up any other techs is that we finish our commercial hubs before anybody else in the lobby. This is particularly helpful in this instance, as the first great merchant in this game is Zhang Chen, the best of the classical era great merchants. He grants an additional trade route capacity, and when playing the game on the online game speed, it's actually cheaper to run 2 commercial hub projects to claim him than it is to build a market. This is exactly what we do. 2 commercial hub projects later, and we're sitting pretty with an extra trade route capacity on turn 27. Since we're playing Brazil, we also get refunded 20% of the great merchant points we spend on him as an added bonus. In this game, we'll be playing a conventional Magnus Internals opening. This means building commercial hubs and markets in every city, grabbing Magnus's promotions for extra yields on internal trade routes, and sending trade routes to our capital in order to jumpstart new cities with a ton of food and production. If you're getting sick of seeing Magnus Internals in nearly every Civ spotlight, you'll be happy to know that this will likely be the last video featuring this exact opener for the foreseeable future, as poor Magnus has been absolutely gutted in the newest beta version of BBG that we'll be playing with starting with our next video. Okay, let's get back on topic. We choose Pen, Brush, and Voice as our Golden Age dedication for some extra culture, and we enter into Classical Republic as our first government. A few turns later, and we unlock our specialty district, the Street Carnival. At first, this district seems fairly underwhelming. After all, the entertainment complex is the worst district in the game, and Brazil's replacement gives the exact same yield of 2 amenities. However, if we look a little deeper, we'll find that this district is actually one of the strongest parts of Brazil's toolkit. First off, there are 3 very big differences between the Street Carnival and the entertainment complex it replaces. 1. It costs half as much production as the entertainment complex. While decent, this bonus is nothing to write home about on its own. 2. The Street Carnival is not a specialty district and does not cost a population slot to build. This is a huge deal, since it means that we can build these in every city without wasting a valuable district slot. Finally, its third benefit. It unlocks the Carnival Project in the city it's built in. We'll put a pin in this project for now and come back to talk about it later. For now, let's dive deeper into the second point on this list. First off, as a non-specialty district, the Street Carnival has valuable synergy with the city patron goddess Pantheon. As you can see, this Pantheon grants 40% extra production towards all districts in a city without a specialty district, meaning we can start a new city by building a Street Carnival right away, benefiting from the 40% extra production as we do so, and then follow it up with a commercial hub afterwards, which also benefits from the 40% extra production granted by the Pantheon. Secondly, the Street Carnival interacts with the district discounting formula in an obscure, beneficial way. For those who are unaware, district discounting is a hidden mechanic present in both the vanilla game as well as in BBG, where in districts we've built disproportionately few of can benefit from a 40% discount. I've made a whole video on the topic if you want more details. Normally, this mechanic only allows players to discount specialty districts, meaning things like aqueducts, dams, and neighborhoods can't be discounted. For some reason, however, the Street Carnival, which isn't a specialty district, is different. To sum up how it works, unlocking the Street Carnival doesn't count as unlocking a specialty district for the sake of the formula, so unlocking games and recreation won't make it harder to discount our districts like it normally would for any other civilization. Constructing a Street Carnival also doesn't increment the number of specialty districts we've completed for the sake of the formula, meaning they can't be used to make it easier to discount other districts. They also aren't considered a specialty district for the sake of the pen, brush, and voice Golden Age dedication, nor for the sake of the civil engineering inspiration. However, for some inexplicable reason, if we plug in the number of Street Carnivals we've constructed for C of T in this formula and it evaluates to true, we will get a 40% discount on them, despite this not being the case for any other non-specialty district. Well, technically Vietnam's unique district has the exact same behavior, but that's another edge case. The consequence of this is that we're able to get our first copies of this district for a very low production cost, and we take full advantage of this. Our positioning of these districts isn't totally random. Just like regular entertainment complexes, these grant +2 adjacency to theater squares, so we want to leave room for our theaters where we can. Speaking of theater squares, we want to unlock these right away after games and recreation, and we save some district slots in our cities as they reach 4 population so that we can place these down right away. Our tech pathing is also something unique to this civ. We're rushing straight for the construction technology. This is because, in BBG, Brazil gains +1 production on all unimproved rainforests upon unlocking this technology. Fun fact, originally the BBG developers wanted to give Brazil the ability to build lumber mills on rainforests at construction. However, they weren't able to find a way to grant Brazil this ability without granting it to everyone, so we ended up with this makeshift solution instead. As it stands, Brazil still has to wait until the Mercantilism civic to build lumber mills on rainforests, just like everybody else. Another thing Brazil still has in common with every other civ is the desire to rush for the Feudalism civic and produce a wave of 5-charge builders everywhere with the serfdom policy card. These builders improve our land and chop our woods, but leave our rainforests alone. We still need the rainforest for our district adjacencies, you see. We don't need as many builders as most civs do, on account of the fact that we'll largely still be working unimproved rainforest tiles for a while. During this time, we finish up all of our commercial hubs and markets, and keep sending traders to our capital to jumpstart our smaller cities with an influx of food and production. And finally, now we start running the unique Carnival Project unlocked by our unique district. So, let's talk about what precisely this project does. The description of this project could not be more useless. It provides a variety of great person points once completed. Gee, thanks Firaxis. Let's break down what this actually does. Before we talk about exactly how many great person points the Carnival Project generates, let's establish a frame of reference by looking at how many points other projects generate. Projects become more expensive as the game goes along, and the rewards scale in direct proportion to their production cost. On the online game speed, most projects generate great person points equal to 44% of the production spent on them. This is to say, if we run an industrial zone project that costs 100 production, we'll gain 44 great engineer points when it's completed. This is true of all projects except for the Theater Square project. If we complete a Theater Square project that costs 100 production, we'll be awarded 22 Great Writer, Great Artist, and Great Musician points. Okay, so where does the Carnival Project fit into all of this? If we run a Carnival Project with a production cost of 100, we will be awarded 22 Great Merchant points, 22 Great Engineer points, 22 Great Writer points, 22 Great Artist points, and 22 Great Musician points. What this effectively means is that we're getting 100% of the expected return of a Theater Square project, plus 50% of the return from an Industrial Zone project, plus 50% of the return from a Commercial Hub project. Effectively, we're getting twice as much value out of this project compared to what we'd get out of an ordinary one. This is further compounded by the fact that, as Brazil, we're refunded 20% of the cost of every great person we recruit. And so, we project. There are 5 classical era great writers, all of which cost 30 great person points each, and we're planning to snipe as many of them as we can. This is what the theater squares are for, so that we have somewhere to store all of the great works that we'll be snagging. In any given game, there's also a 50% chance that the first great engineer up for grabs will grant production towards wonders. We want one of these engineers to help us rush for the Chichen Itza, as it's been reworked in BBG to provide extra yields to all the rainforests in our entire empire. Unfortunately, the first great engineer offered in this game is useless to us, so we'll have to produce the Chichen Itza manually. In the meantime, we get some industrial zones and a handful of campuses set up. We don't actually need that many campuses as Brazil, though. Why, you may be wondering? It's all because of a little Golden Age dedication known as Free Inquiry. You see, this nifty dedication grants science equal to our commercial hub adjacency, and if you'll recall from earlier, we have a ton of commercial hubs sitting at +6 adjacency or better, thanks to the fact that all of our districts gain extra adjacency from rainforests. The science granted by Free Inquiry also benefits from the Town Charter's policy card, which doubles our commercial hub adjacency. Look at this, on turn 54, we're sitting on 71 science per turn. Just one turn later on turn 55, as we switch from Pen, Brush, and Voice to Free Inquiry, our science skyrockets to 193, despite the fact that we've barely invested into any campuses. This is what makes Brazil so strong. We have a bajillion bonuses to playing towards culture victory, yet for some reason our science is also super high with minimal effort. This synergy with Free Inquiry is also the reason that, despite Brazil also being playable with various religious build orders, a commercial hub opener is preferred. A few turns later, we chop out the Chichen Itza in our capital, and suddenly we're absolutely massive. A little bit later, we unlock the Mercantilism civic. Finally, we can build lumber mills on our rainforest tiles. We put the serfdom card back in and pump out another wave of builders for this purpose. However, as building lumber mills removes the +1 production or civ bonus grants on unimproved rainforest tiles, we end up only gaining a net of +1 production from each lumber mill, at least for the moment. After picking up the Enlightenment civic, we rush for the Natural History civic. Not only will this unlock archaeologists, which serve an important purpose for culture victory, this civic grants access to building zoos. Now, arenas are a really bad building, so up until now, we haven't actually built any of them despite how many entertainment complexes we have. However, they're a prerequisite for zoos, so we finally build some of them. In total, we only really want 2 zoos, however. This is because they grant their amenity bonus to every city in a 6-tile area centered around the entertainment complex, and duplicate zoos do not stack with each other. Just 2 of them positioned in key locations is enough to tag every city with their amenity bonus. One of the nice things about building these zoos on Brazil in particular, however, is that unlike other civs, we never chopped any of our rainforest tiles. Zoos grant +1 science on all rainforest tiles in their city, so we end up with some really juicy yields as a result. Okay, there is only one last thing that Brazil does differently from other civs before transitioning into a conventional culture victory game plan. Whereas most civs prefer to rush straight for the industrialization technology, as it not only grants access to factories, but also grants +1 production on all mines, we have other goals in mind. You see, in the base game, lumber mills provide an additional +1 production upon reaching the steel technology. However, as lumber mills were hardly ever built on most civs, the BBG developers saw fit to move this +1 production from steel to the much earlier technology of ballistics, and this is our next target. In order to be as efficient as possible, however, we make sure to trigger the Eureka for gunpowder by building an armory, metal casting by building 2 crossbowmen, and ballistics by building 2 forts. This last Eureka is made much easier by BBG, as the mod allows forts to be constructed by military engineers right away, without needing to grab the siege tactics technology first. As ballistics kicks in, suddenly all of our lumber mills gain a further +1 production each, and our tile yields are looking completely ridiculous. From here, we go back up and grab the industrialization technology afterwards, and continue our development as normal. If you're curious to see how this game ends, be sure to stick around for when I upload the full VOD tomorrow. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, drop a like, and leave a comment about what you'd like to see next. You can follow me at twitch.tv/Herson100 to catch full games of multiplayer Civ 6 live. Recently, I've been playing the new BBG beta patch, so you can catch me trying to work out what the new meta strategies are. That's all for now. Herson, signing out.